that word anymore, but it's such a great word, I just have to pull it out every now and then. Do you feel crunk? Do you even know what that means? What? Yeah, she knows what it means. It's a good thing. Getting crunk. I think it means cranked up. So we're all crunk here this morning. Welcome to Unity of Music City, where we do authentic transformation. That is who we are. That is what we do. And what a perfect week to be talking about authentic transformation, because it's the week of World Day of Prayer, and nothing will transform you like prayer. Joining Reverend D on the stage today is Reverend Becky Whitehead, back home in the house. Our special musical guest this morning, I don't know if you know this, but Judy Blackwelder is also a musician. And you, and us, and together, we do authentic transformation. Let me tell you about a few of the opportunities that you have this week to do that transformation. We've got Lunch Bunch ongoing 11:30 on Wednesdays. If you have time during the day, they're still working with the 12 steps to a compassionate life. Wednesday night class, Spirit-Centered Relationships at 7 o'clock, facilitated by Reverend D and Dr. B. God, y'all ought to have a musical group. All right, Reverend D, Dr. B, and the crazy folks of Unity. Hey. Thank you, I'll be here all week. All right. Hey, it's time to renew your Kroger cards. You remember when you signed up on your Kroger cards and you designated Unity of Music City to be the people who got all the little pennies that they donate? Yeah, do that again, okay? We'll give you some more instructions on how to do that, but it's really, really simple. You can go to the website, and I can guarantee you this. If you can't figure it out, or you just want your own secretary momentarily, Charlotte Palmer will do it for you. Yes, she will. Today, right after the service, we have a preparatory meeting. I can speak. For those folks who are going to the Mayor's Community Dialogue this Saturday, September 10th, I believe it's this Saturday, is that correct? So if you're one of those folks, remember to stick around after church today and talk with Reverend D. The important thing is this week, World Day of Prayer. And I'm sure that Reverend D will be talking about that in detail, so I shan't give you a lot about that, but I just wanted to make sure that it's on your horizon. And then Tuesday night, Reiki with Bonnie right here. It's birthday Sunday. What about 3/4 of you Virgos and 1/4 of you Libras, whoever's born in September, stand up and let us sing at you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friends. Happy birthday. Another way to authentically transform is to ask for it, seek it, and knock on the door. Stand up and sing with us. See Blackwelder song, isn't that right? Didn't you write that one? And one of the things I love about that song so much is that it starts with just believe in yourself, and then the Word of God, and that is how we do it around here. One more announcement that will help you believe in yourself. Thursday night, Candy Comer has a session going on here called Your Body is the Healer, how to get your body on the healing side of chemistry. If you're interested in a little bit of that detox and alignment and cleansing work, then talk to Candy after the service. And as Bee comes forward to lead us in our sacred reading, I ask that we just start to settle in and bring all of that vibrant energy into a focused place.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Would the other prayer chaplains please stand? Know that the prayer chaplains are here to pray with you. We love you. We believe in you. We bless you. Thank you. And you have been reminded already about World Day of Prayer. Remember to fill out your slips with the names of people for whom you would like prayer and put it in the prayer box. Those names will be prayed over here and then sent to Silent Unity. And also in the lobby you can sign up for the times when you wish to pray over the 24 hours. That's from Wednesday evening to Thursday evening. And Denise has a few things she'd like to say about World Day of Prayer.
I can get my microphone turned on. I truly believe in synchronicity in my world. And because I'm part of the mayor's conversations on Saturday, and because I was at the training that they had Wednesday night, because those of us that were in the first conversation are table facilitators, I want to say that I want us as a spiritual community to hold that in prayer. If you've ever been to the Music City Center, which Becky and I were talking about last night, is this big gargantuan place downtown. Huge. There are going to be over 1,000 people from all different walks of life coming together to have conversation about how to make Nashville a great place to live. I shared with you all when I spoke about my experience in July. And my experience in July was that there were 100 hand-picked leaders from across Nashville, of which I had an awesome honor of being one of those, to sit at 13 different tables and to discuss what we felt needed to happen for Nashville. I'm going to say that again. They were all leaders, and tension in the room was extremely high. And so when I went through training this Wednesday night at David Lipscomb University, they said, we're going to multiply that. It's going to be 1,000 people. There's going to be bankers and CEOs and bricklayers and street people at the same table. There's going to be all kinds of people with all kinds of ideas. And so I want us, and I asked the prayer chaplains also, that we could spend a tiny tad of our time on Thursday night to hold that whole process in prayer. But I just want to put that in your minds today, for you to keep that ever present in the front of your mind between now and Saturday, that whole process run smoothly. And that God, Holy Spirit, whatever you call the universal force of this universe, have its hand in all of it. Thank you.
Our sacred readings this month are taken from Nancy Merrill's book, Psalms for Praying, An Invitation to Wholeness. May the reading of the Psalms inspire in each of us an awakening to the peace of the beloved breathing every soul. The affirmation: I discover the power within as I awaken my relationship with God. Together. I discover the power within as I awaken to my relationship with God. Psalm 139. O my beloved, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You know when I sit down and when I rise up, and you discern my innermost thoughts. You find me on the journey and guide my steps. You know my strengths and my weaknesses. Even before the words rise up in prayer, you have already heard my heart call. You encompass me with love wherever I go, and your strength is my shield. High, boundless gratitude is my soul's response. Where could I go from your spirit, or where could I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in darkness, you are there. If I soar on the wings of the morning, or dwell in the deepest parts of the sea, even there your hand will lead me. Your love will embrace me. You have formed my inward being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for you are adored. Your mysteries fill me with wonder. More than I know myself, do you know me. My essence is not hidden from you. Search me, O my beloved, and know my heart. Help me to face the darkness and enlighten me that I might radiate love and light.
So I ask that you just prepare for meditation. Just get comfortable in your seat. And we're going to begin with a reset breath, so just exhale all the breath that's in your body right now. Just blow it out. And place a hand on your heart and a hand close to your belly, with your thumb in your belly button if you can get there. And just take 3 deep breaths. And as I breathe, I am resetting my breath in alignment to the divine. The divine who loves me and who sees me as the beloved. And as I continue to drop my attention into my heart space, I begin to discover and feel the power that lives inside me. And I begin to understand better the relationship that I have with the divine. In the silence. In the silence. discovered the power within. By allowing myself to be in the holy silence.
And I invite you, if you so choose, to stay in that very sacred, meditative space. As in honor of World Day of Prayer, I have chosen to play Prayer Circle. And I would like to dedicate this to all of our chaplains, and especially to one who is no longer with us, but who was one of the greatest prayer warriors I ever knew, Jody Warnick.
What Deb just said? How she does that with those short little fingers. Because she really doesn't have piano hands, but it's like amazing things come out of those hands. Lordy mercy. And do you remember the day she recorded all of that? She has a CD called Prayer Circle. That's just one of the songs on it. And we went into the studio, and I don't think she recorded any of them at once, did she? Every song, one take, and it was done. That does not happen in Nashville, Tennessee. So this is an amazing woman that I am honored to call my partner, and even more honored to know that she has finally retired, and she's going to do what she's here to do, which is that. Not that she's not been an awesome person to be working with our Metro students, because she has. She has blessed them in many, many ways, and it's time, right? So I don't have a clicker, so I'm assuming that's cool. Well, he can click. Here comes the clicker. You didn't know you were the clicker. Whoa, thank you. It's kind of funny. So most of you may be aware of Becky Whitehead. Some of you may not be, because you weren't here when she was a member of this congregation. But know that this woman assisted me through one of the most interesting times of this ministry, along with a few other people like Charlotte Palmer. And we bought and sold property 45 times, I don't know, at least. And we called that glass there. Oh, somebody's going off. Hey, is that what that word was you were talking about earlier? There you go. We used to call the stained glass the Ark of the Covenant, because we moved it from place to place and tried to decide whether we were going to put it in a place or store it or whatever. But I want you to know that this woman became one of my dearest friends. I've said this over the years, but when you work, and I told Scott this, and Scott didn't run away, when you work as the minister, you and the board president have to be connected at the hip. That's just the way it is. It just has to happen, because you are working your consciousness together to move the church forward. And I've still never had an experience quite like I had with you. It is wonderful. Because we kind of were on the same wavelength a lot of times, and we played off of each other, and we weren't scared of each other at all. We made some mistakes, and we made some successes along the way, and we talked about them all, and it was all lovely. And so I want you to say hello and give her a round of applause as Reverend Becky Whitehead comes up. We did. We laughed through most of them. In fact, I still love to tell the story to make sure that your mic is on, because I wasn't sure it was. Am I on? There it is. of the day that she came into my office. This was when we were at Andrew Jackson property, because you and Donna Boxer were running the offices at the time. You remember that, Jane? And she came upstairs and sat on a couch with me, and she said, "I'm ready to volunteer and do something." You know what happens when you say that to a minister? Woo! She didn't even say, "I want to be this." She just said, "I'm ready to volunteer and do something." You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I do. I do.
And I was like, "Woohoo! Can I give you my laundry list of all the things that need to happen right now in this moment?"
And she did.
And I did. And she did them all with ease and grace, which is the deal. So, again, synchronicity works so wonderfully well, because when she let me know she was going to be here, I said, "I am so excited because she can help me explain to a congregation which about half of you are aware of World Day of Prayer. But the other half have never experienced it or even know what it is, really, except for Bee's been up here talking about it a little bit. But you don't realize that this is not just something we're doing a nice little thing in our church. This is a worldwide event for unity across the globe. And one of the reasons I am so glad that she's here, one of my things on my bucket list is that I will be at Unity Village some year during World Day of Prayer, because I have always wanted to be. This lady has been there because she lives in Omaha, which is only 3 miles away. So she has been there before, and I wanted her to speak to what that is about and what that's like. And she's going to do a little experience with Crystal's help in just a moment.
So when I left here and went to Omaha, I had no idea what all of the fringe benefits were going to be. One of which is that we take a busload of people every year from Omaha down to Unity Village and experience World Day of Prayer together. It's a fantastic opportunity, and I think it's $50, and you go down on the bus and you spend the day and have all of the experiences. There are services, there are activities, there are all sorts of events in that consciousness of prayer and in that consciousness of connection with the globe. One of the most sacred experiences is to go into the Silent Unity Chapel. And in the Silent Unity Chapel, along the stage, and the stage is like twice the width of this, and there are boxes and boxes and boxes of prayer slips. The very prayer slips that you guys have to fill out. And when you walk into that sacred space, you can go up front and pick up a stack and go and sit and read them and pray over them. Much like what, I don't know if you still do the same thing in here, but much like what goes on here, where you pray over the slips, but we would be praying over slips from all over the globe. And when I'm talking about boxes, I'm talking about stacked this high and probably about 6 feet deep of just prayer slips. And that doesn't count the ones that are scrolling on the screen that have come in electronically. Millions of prayer requests. And the energy in that space, you can't walk in without just being covered with goosebumps. So, my wish for you is that you do get to experience.
Yes.
This will be the first year out of 7 that I haven't been there for. But I left the community in good hands. They're going down, and they will be in that space, in that energy. There are drumming circles. They try to tie in all of the globe. There will be people there from all over the globe. You'll see folks there from Africa, from England, from South America, in their native attire, and being part of that experience. They bring in big names. Daniel Naboth, I think, is closing it out Thursday night. One of the beautiful things about the opening ceremony on Wednesday is we meet in the Activity Center or Unity Village Chapel. And after the service concludes, we all walk with our candles. And if you have never seen Unity Village, you need to go to the website and take a look. But you leave the chapel and you walk by candlelight in silence up to the Silent Unity Chapel. And so you see people walking along the fountains, and it's nothing but candlelight. It's a sacredness that if you don't experience it, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, that if you don't experience it, It's hard to describe. But knowing that that energy is not just there. That energy is spreading in and through all of us, and in and through all of the world. And we hold that sacredness. That is the heart of unity. Prayer. Prayer and healing and wholeness is where our foundation is. And this particular event is one of the most beautiful traditions that we have as a movement. And so what goes on here, I was so blessed by what we had here before I went, because it really did prepare me for those experiences. And to be where I am in my community and to be able to share that and to have that journey with each other. So is that what
You want to do your candle?
Yeah. Let's, if you want to go ahead and bring that up. As some of you may be aware, there is the whole light a candle thing. And what happens is you can go online, and I encourage all of you to do this if you go to the World Day of Prayer website. And you can light a candle, and it symbolizes your presence and your holding of consciousness in your community. So let's go ahead and light the candle for Unity of Music City. And just one, it should propagate, but you'll be able to see all the candles lit. We'll let that keep working. I looked at it last night, and I think there was almost, I think it was 4,500 candles lit.
Cool.
Yeah, do the candle nap. Technology is wonderful, isn't it?
When it
There
does
you go.
what you want it to do. There you go. 72 countries. That's why I wanted you all to hear this, because sometimes I think we talk about World Day of Prayer, people think, oh, it's some nice little service, sweet little service that our chaplains are going to do. This is bigger than that. This is worldwide. We are holding in consciousness together with every person in unity across the world. And this year's theme is Discover the Power Within You. To understand that you have a relationship that is much bigger, which is another reason I am glad that Becky's here today, because I'm going to go to something else once you, there you go. Well,
Hang on. Give me 1 second.
it's okay. You heard her say that prayer is the foundation of unity. I've said that before, and I've said it even more so with the chaplains. But I think we forget how unity actually started, and how Mother Myrtle Fillmore used to hold in silence in her home. And I'm not talking about her praying over people as they come into her home. She just sat in the silence. And people came in and sat with her. And guess what? They were healed. And I can promise you that within a very short period of time, people started spreading that word everywhere. Do you know that I was healed of this and this by holding in prayer? Wow. So that's one of the ways that the unity movement began to spread. And so I put up here the 5 unity principles. Not for us to spend a lot of time with them today, but that you can see that number 4 is through prayer and meditation, we align our heart mind with God, or with the universe. What I want to say and what I want you to hear is prayer is not for God. I'm going to say that again, because some of you are still looking at me funny. Prayer is not for God. Those blah, blah, blah things that you say, they are to shift your consciousness. It is to shift your consciousness. Just like this morning when we were doing the reset breath. That is to shift your personal energy in relationship to the universal energy. Sometimes my thoughts are wonky. Anybody else ever have wonky thoughts? Surely not. And so when I keep thinking those wonky thoughts, I get wonky things in my world. That I do. And sometimes I look out there and go, how did that happen? Because I sometimes want to say, well, somebody did that. Somebody else did that. But most of the time when I'm able to sit with another individual and start processing, I realize that the wonkiness that's in my world somehow or other is connected to some thoughts. It may be back to where I was 4 years old, but it's connected to some thoughts. Okay? So prayer is for you to align yourself with Spirit. You want to say anything about that?
Okay, let me catch that one and go with it.
That's kind of how we roll.
I mean, you're absolutely right, Denise. I mean, the whole thing, and even when I was going through starting training, they were saying, well, you know, prayer is you're talking to God, meditation is God talking to you. No, that's not true. It really is all about that pause and making a choice, having a deliberate intent to get yourself centered. Because, and this is one of the interesting things, because I've just done a bunch of stuff around prayer, meditation, and healings. And if you've got somebody you're angry with, you just want to choke them.
None of these people have this.
Oh, good. I thought it was just,
It's just people in Omaha. Right?
that's it.
There
That's
you
it. If you will pause and hold them in the consciousness of prayer, it doesn't do anything for them right off the bat, but what does it do? It brings you into that place of alignment. This is one of those times when it's all about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about you. So actually stepping into that and deliberately. You know, this year what we're looking at is a lot about in Omaha is demonstration. And one of the key parts of demonstration is deliberate intent. And for me, prayer is a demonstration of deliberate intent. When I bring my focus to that, when I take the time and stop the crap. Am I the only one that has crap?
No.
When I stop the crap and set an intent to deliberately move into that consciousness, that alignment with my divinity, then I am actively demonstrating that beingness of prayer.
Thank you. Because the other thing that you shared with me is that we can't just worry about sitting in the consciousness. Remember my lessons that I've had so much lately about love and light? Which is what we like to do in Unity. You know, here's an issue of something, and I'm just going to sit and hold in consciousness, love and light. Hope it's okay, right? Look at the fifth unity principle.
That's my most favorite.
I know, you told me. It was evident when you were the board president that it was your most favorite. Through thoughts, words, and actions, we do what with the truth we know? Live. We do what? Live. So once I sit in the silence and I am aligned with Holy Spirit, then I have to move my feet. I can't just sit there all day and assume that everything is going to be perfect. Because I don't know about you all, but sometimes I've done some things in my life. You remember last week when I talked about karma? Anybody remember any of that? Sometimes I have put some actions out into the world that have been less than lovely, and I have to deal with that. And I can't just sit in the silence and go, okay, all that's going to come. Sometimes I have to make amends. Any AA people in here that want to admit that they are? Amends, make amends. Whatever that looks like. Sometimes I have to go out and shift some things in my own world to have myself show up the way that I think I want to show up. Just saying that I'm in alignment with Spirit and then running over here and acting like a skank doesn't work. You get that? I do sometimes. So talk to us about action there, because you were the action queen when you were the board president.
I get accused of that now.
I'm sure you do.
So, and it is, and I said something to you this morning about, and I'm sure you guys have heard the whole thing, ham sandwich.
Yes, because I've said that before.
That I still remember that. And we can hold in consciousness anything we want to. But we have to get up and go to the refrigerator or go to the store. We have the ability to make manifest anything and everything. But nowhere have I ever seen it written that you make it manifest by sitting on your butt. I haven't found that anywhere, and if you find it, let me know. But I haven't seen that. Because just holding something in consciousness is one thing, but we have to take the steps. That's why this year in Omaha we're focusing on demonstration. Stop talking about it. Stop reading about it. Stop listening about it. Do it. Take the steps. Take the actions. Are you not happy with your life? Guess who holds the key to changing it? You've got the key. If something's not right, in my experience, I don't call Denise up and say, fix it. I'd love to, but
I just laugh.
it's like, okay. I can hear it. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. What have you done? But it's that action piece. And sometimes it's just a little action. Sometimes it's just looking at something differently. But sometimes it's making a huge change. When it became obvious what my journey was, believe me, the action I wanted wasn't to leave Nashville. But I knew that sitting still and holding a vision, either in these walls or in my home, wasn't going to get the job done. It was going to take me exercising faith and stepping out, stepping into the unknown.
I can imagine that
Woo.
moving to Omaha was a big deal for you.
Where?
I know. I thought that too. When I had to come there the first time. You live where?
Yeah. But the other thing, Denise, and you were this with me, and I know still available for this, but when you are moving into those places of action, it's always good if you have somebody that can hold the space with you without throwing monkey wrenches into everything you try to do. Because I remember sending you the job description and the offering in Omaha and saying, what do you think?
I said, that's you and it's yours.
Because everything they listed was everything that I had gone through experience-wise and fit. And it kind of was, almost instantly. I've been blessed with a life that moves with ease and grace. And I think a lot of that has to do with being in alignment and listening to that inner guidance and stepping when guidance says step and being still when guidance says be still.
I had told Charles, where is Charles? He's out there somewhere. There he is. That I was going to read something from the message this morning because we are using the song, ask and it's given, seek and you find, and knock, it'll be open unto you. And most of you have probably heard that scripture from the King James Version or maybe the NIV or something like that. So I want you to open your minds to something a little bit more radical. Okay, this is from the Message. And it says, don't try to bargain with God. Hello. Be direct and ask for what you want. This isn't a cat and mouse hide and seek game you're in. If your child asks for bread, do you trick him with sawdust? Think about that. If your child asks for a fish, this is very scary, Sharon, do you scare him with a live snake on his plate? No. Don't you think the God who conceived you in love will do even better? Wow. Because sometimes I think we play with that ask and seek and knock. And we do play with it like it's this cat and mouse thing, or if I hold my mouth just right and hum several bars of something, that maybe God will listen to me this time. Right? But this is saying, be direct. This is what I want. I hope you don't mind me using you as an example, Bee, but Bee the other day told me that she needed a computer chair. And she wasn't sure where it was going to come from or how she was going to get it, but she said, I very directly said to the universe, I need a computer chair. And then she went on a walk in the neighborhood, and guess what was sitting on the side of a yard with a sign in it that said, take. Hello?
I need a Ferrari.
And you all laugh. But the deal is, do you believe? Do you remember the song we sang this morning? Just believe. Be ready to receive. There's the issue. Because whatever I'm struggling with right now, I think I can pray, but I don't really believe that anything's going to happen. Right? So B, that was awesome when you shared that with me the other day. It was like, how cool is that? So, those of you that have ever studied prayer and unity, and I know this is a little bit different from those of you that have studied prayer in religious science because the steps are not exactly the same. But these are our steps. The first time I ever saw them, I was really confused. I was like, I'm going to relax, then I'm going to concentrate. It all seems real funky, wonky. What does all that really mean? It was all confusing to me. Also, Becky and I talked this week, and she said she likes to add give thanks at the top first.
Because it sets that energy.
Right.
It opens us, because when we're in an attitude of gratitude, it brings us into a different place.
And if you remember some of the examples that we have in the New Testament of Jesus, the master teacher, he started with, thank you, God, because I know you've already heard me before I speak this prayer. Because the deal is, before I even speak it, I've thought it. So, whoosh.
When we start in that place of gratitude, I talked a few minutes ago about even like if you've got somebody who's rough throttle, and you can bring them and lift them up in that consciousness of prayer. Chances are there's something in that experience that we can be grateful for. And if we can relax and move into that energy of appreciation, and then Just center. Relax. Concentrate into that. Allow ourselves to be present. That whole thing about concentration for me is part of that setting an intention. Concentrating on what the focus is. Meditate. That's just getting still. Shh. Be quiet. Be still. Move into that. Embrace that intention. And after and that's part of that embracing the silence. It's not the silence around us, it's the silence within us. Because if we're not in that silence within, we continue to work. And there's times that the chatter is so loud that we just can't seem to find our way. So shh. Be still. Be silent. My intention is to be in that place of gratitude, to be in that place of my divinity. And through that, I'm able to focus, to move beyond that which was into that which is. And all the gratitude for that journey. That short journey from whatever was into the presence of being that I am and that you are.
The other thing I want to share with you, and some of you are familiar with this little book because I've brought it out many times. It is Greg Braden's Secret of the Lost Mode of Prayer. And I'm going to throw this on Becky, and she didn't even know I was going to throw this on her, but I know you're getting ready to go see Greg Braden.
I am.
Pretty soon. It's been a long time since I've been able to be in his presence. But he reminds you, when he talks about prayer, that the universe responds to emotions. I'm going to say that again. The universe is not really listening to all. The universe is responding to your emotions. So when you say, "Dear God, I'm sick. Please make me well." What did the universe hear? Does that make sense? Sounds kind of like a chicken in heat, doesn't it? Right? And so this is a shift in our consciousness because we've got a lot of people in here, me included, who love to do big elaborate prayers. La-di-da-di-da-di-da-di. And I want you to hear that there's nothing wrong with that, but the emotion behind it is what the universe is paying attention to.
I think one of the things I shared with you recently, or shared with somebody, we were talking about prayer. And I said, I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church, and it was a lot of the these and thous and thuses, and it was always only those of the higher echelon of the church that got to pray out loud. And so it was like, got to be a certain place before you can pray. So Unity, when I first came to Unity, it was really kind of funny, because I remember praying and going, "No, that's not right." Wait, I can't say that. No, wait, I need to reword that. It was a chore. Learning how to pray in the Unity way without beseeching and begging and asking Santa God for stuff.
Did you all hear? Santa, God. Think about that.
That's really how we treated God. Okay? But what I love about Greg Braden and the things that I have learned through studying some of his works is that whole emotional piece. I love the story in there about the Native American fellow. Because what he teaches us in that, it has nothing to do with the words, really. He talks about this fellow, they were in the midst of a drought. And he talks about this fellow going up into the sacred lands in order to embody and embrace and bring rain into the community. And you need to read it for yourself to get all the nuances of it, but what it boiled down to is the guy didn't do any of this huge beseeching prayer. He walked out into the sacred grounds and he stood there. And he was not there but just a few minutes. And he walks back to Greg, and Greg says, I thought you were here to pray for rain. And basically he said, I didn't say that. I was here to pray rain. To be that. To have the emotions of the experience. To stand in the presence and smell the smelling of fresh rain. To feel the rain on my face. To smell what it's like as I run through my village and smell the rain on the adobe huts. To feel the mud between my toes. The cleanliness of the air after the rain has come. You see a difference? He wasn't praying, oh God, please let it rain. He was experiencing the emotions of what that rain was. And so we've actually started in Omaha. We have a group that comes together on Wednesdays, and they do a peace meditation. And it's not meditating on bringing peace, but they embody what peace feels like. And they hold that consciousness and they send that consciousness out around them. So there's where the emotion piece comes in. Is what is it like to be that? And feel it and hear it and smell it and taste it. Bringing it totally 100% into your being.
So I'm going to read a quote out of here. And then I'm going to ask you to think of something in your life that you would like to hold in prayer. But I want you to hear this quote and what you would hear. Okay? It's from Saint Catherine of Siena. The force that created the unimaginable splendors and the unimaginable horrors has taken refuge in us, and it will follow our commands. Just breathe into that. Now I want you to hear it again. The force that created the unimaginable splendors and the unimaginable horrors has taken refuge in us, and it will follow our commands. So Becky, I'm going to let you close with that.
For me, that whole thing reminds us that we have the freedom, we have the capabilities of being whatever we hold in consciousness, and we have the choice. Not only do we have the choice, but we have inherited the opportunity, and we are charged with the responsibility and the accountability to have a conscious awareness of the choices that we make. And so in closing, I would like to encourage you to stay aware. Stay aware of which of those energies you are supporting with your thoughts, your words, and your actions. And I support you. And through that awareness of making the choices to show up as that highest of divine creatures, because that's what you are. And through that, you let your light shine and be.
Thank you,
Thank you so much to the two reverends. Many of you know that my father was a minister. And when I was about 6 years old, every Saturday night, I guess I should say Sunday morning, at about 2 in the morning, our phone would ring. And it was Lowell, the town drunk. I think that was his real name. I'm not sure that's all I ever heard him referred to as. Lowell the town drunk, and my mother would say on Saturday nights, maybe you should just take the phone off the hook so you can get a good night's sleep before you have to preach the next day. And my father would say, don't you know that the interruptions are the job? There is nothing that a minister doesn't sometimes get asked to do. A minister is a teacher and a student and a counselor and a consultant and a friend and a prayer warrior and a constant. A good minister knows how to follow divine guidance when that guidance says to rest. And at one point, our minister, Reverend Denise, took that rest for about a year. And 5 years ago this Sunday, she came back to us as the full-time minister of this church. I'd like to call Sharon Duffy up, and I'd like to call Reverend Denise Jurgen up. And this seat is yours, Denise.
Oh no. Is it a hot seat?
5 years ago, I was the president of the board, and we were without a minister. And it was not an easy time for us as a spiritual community. In June of 2011, I asked Denise to meet with me at that sacred place called Chili's. And we had a conversation. We had been interviewing candidates to become our minister. We had brought people in to speak. And quite frankly, no one could live up to what we had experienced with Denise as our spiritual leader. So, she agreed to give this a shot again. And today, it is 5 years, almost exactly, to the minute. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our pea-picking hearts.
You know, it's an interesting thing to know that what is yours to do and that you walked away from it. But I also knew that it was time for me to rest because I had had some rough years of trying to be all things to all people. 2 o'clock in the morning phone calls and the like. And at that point in time, I had a church board who had, as part of my job description, that I was a part of every ministry of the church, and that I would be at every ministry's meetings, and it got to be, I never had a day off, ever. I mean, I'm serious, never, ever. And so I just thought, I can't. Obviously, I'm not big enough for this job, is what I thought. But I will tell you, when Sharon called me, it was probably something inside me that went, oh, wow. Because I had laid down what I knew was mine to do. Even my friend Becky probably knew that in Omaha, but she didn't say anything. She was a good friend. I just kept saying, I'm going to go over here and do counseling for metro schools. And she was like, okay, wow. Yay. So I want to tell you that this has been a glorious 5 years, and I expect to have many, many more, because it is a joy every day to work with each of you, all of you, even those of you I don't see very often, Lee Sherman and Marisha. Thank you very much from the bottom of my pea-picking heart. How's that? Namaste.
Now sit back down here. Wait, you're not done.
Shoot, I have to do something else.
Yeah. I would like to ask the praise and worship team to come up, and I would also like to ask anyone who is a member of Voices who might know this song. Jane, you know this song. Come on up here. If you've been a member of Voices for a while, you probably know this song. Dan B, come on up here. Valerie, whoever else. If you just want to, you can. Judy?
So I picked this one out. Yes, and it's not only from me to you, but it's from this congregation to you. It's so apropos. We are children once and all. Sometimes we fly, sometimes we fall. Sometimes our backs are up against the wall, and we need someone to lean on. When I pray, I thank God for you. I lift you up, my heart is true, and in this miracle of me and you, I find peace and joy and love. I count on you to hold the high watch in all that you do. You can count on me to shine the light when you can see. A gift to each other is we're meant to be, and I count on you. I count on you. We count on you.
She's a dirty dog.
While she's hugging, I'm gonna take the money. What a beautiful moment to enter into our sacred walk of abundance. If you haven't been with us for a while or you're new here, just know that what we do is an act of commitment, love, and devotion to our church and our spiritual community. We engage in a walk of abundance, our sacred walk of abundance. So if you'll take your tithe and offering in your hand, and by the way, after you do that, be sure to get an affirmation from this bowl. Take your tithe and offering and say the offering blessing with me, please. The more kindness I share, the more kindness finds me. And I choose to give in this moment. I stay open to all the forms of abundance the universe has to share with me.
Thank you.